quiet folds of the English countryside, where time feels like it has forgotten to move forward, there exists a village that whispers rather than speaks. Peaslake. At first glance, it appears like something lifted from a painting. Narrow, winding lanes, ivy-covered cottages, and the faint echo of bicycle wheels crunching over gravel paths. But Peaslake is not just picturesque. It carries a subtle mystery that settles into the bones of anyone who stays long enough. The village, with a population of only a few hundred souls, lives in a delicate balance between modern quiet life and traditions that seem older than memory itself. Locals speak of a time when the forests surrounding the village were not merely woodlands, but living entities, places where children were warned not to wander too far, not because of danger you could see, but because of something you could feel. The Hurtwood Forest, stretching endlessly around Peaslake, has long been the subject of hushed stories. Tales of strange lights flickering between trees, of footsteps heard when no one is there, and of an old path that villagers claim should not be followed after dusk. Even today, longtime residents avoid certain trails at night, not out of fear, but out of respect for something unnamed. Yet life in Peaslake is not defined by fear. It is defined by deep-rooted community and rituals that bind generations together. Every year, villagers gather for small but meaningful traditions. Homemade fairs, cycling races through forest paths, and quiet church services that feel unchanged for centuries. There is a unique emotional weight here, a sense that everyone belongs to the land as much as the land belongs to them. Some families trace their roots back over 200 years, and their stories are woven into the very stones of the cottages. Hidden spots lie everywhere. A forgotten well behind an overgrown hedge, a bench overlooking a valley where lovers once carved their initials, and a small, nearly invisible chapel ruin deep in the woods, known only to a handful of locals. Visitors often say Peaslake feels like stepping into a secret, not a dramatic or dangerous one, but something deeply personal, as though the village chooses what it reveals and what it keeps hidden. And perhaps the greatest curiosity of all is this: no matter how many photographs are taken, no image ever seems to capture the true feeling of the place. It is something you must experience, a quiet mystery that lingers long after you leave. Deep within the emerald embrace of the Surrey Hills, where the air feels thick with the scent of pine and ancient earth, lies the village of Peaslake, a settlement that exists less in the modern world and more in the long, sepia-toned memory of the Hurtwood Forest. As a documentary narrator might observe while standing atop a mist-shrouded ridge, this is a place where mystery is woven into the very topography of the land, a sanctuary of a few hundred souls who serve as the silent guardians of secrets dating back to the Iron Age. The history of Peaslake is a complex tapestry of isolation and survival. For centuries, this was a remote outpost for charcoal burners and foresters, a population that lived by the rhythm of the woods rather than the laws of the town. This isolation has birthed a unique atmosphere of curiosity, where every winding lane and flint-walled cottage seems to hold its breath as you pass. The emotional weight of the village is most palpable at the St. James Church, a Victorian masterpiece that stands as a beacon of continuity in an ever-changing world. But the true local secrets lie far beyond the stone walls. One must venture into the hidden spots of the Hurtwood, a primordial woodland where hollow ways, carved into the sandstone by millennia of footfalls and wagon wheels, serve as subterranean arteries for the ghost stories of the past. There is a profound curiosity in the way the modern world has attempted to claim Peaslake, now a mecca for mountain bikers who scream down the hills. Yet the village remains stubbornly disconnected from the frantic pace of London just 30 miles away. The unique tradition of the village store, which acts as the communal heart, provides a rare glimpse into a population that prizes intimacy over expansion, where the mystery is not what is hidden, but how such a peaceful equilibrium has been maintained for so long. Hidden spots like the Roman villa ruins near the village outskirts or the forgotten wells deep in the thicket serve as reminders that before the cyclists and the commuters, there were others who found solace in these shadows. The local secrets here are whispered in the pub over a pint of ale, stories of the Hurtwood ghost, or the ancient smugglers who used these hills to evade the king's men, creating an emotional resonance that stays with the traveler long after they have left the valley. Peaslake is a living testament to the power of the landscape to shape human destiny, a place where the population remains small by choice, preserving a fragile beauty that feels as though it could vanish back into the mist at any moment, leaving only the curious call of the woodlark and the silent, watchful trees. Emerging from the wooded shadows of Surrey into the sun-drenched, honey-colored limestone of the Cotswolds, the narrative shifts to Bibury, a village so ethereally preserved that the great William Morris once declared it the most beautiful in all of England. Here, the historical significance is not hidden in the forest, but displayed with a quiet, regal pride along the banks of the River Colne, a shimmering vein of crystalline water that dictates the rhythm of local life. The emotional centerpiece of Bibury is, without doubt, Arlington Row, a terrace of 14th-century cottages that began as a monastic wool store before becoming the homes of weavers who helped build the wealth of the British Empire. To walk past these stones is to engage with a profound curiosity about the thousands of lives that have passed through these low doorways, lives spent in the rhythmic clatter of the loom, bound by the unique tradition of craftsmanship that still defines the Cotswold spirit. While the population is tiny, the village carries a weight of global fame that creates a strange paradox. It is one of the most photographed spots on Earth, yet its true local secrets remain remarkably elusive to the casual tourist. One must look to the hidden spots like Rack Isle, the water meadow once used for drying cloth, now a protected sanctuary for water voles and rare flora, where the mystery of the natural world thrives in the shadow of human architecture. The emotional resonance of Bibury is found in its water, not just the river, but the unique tradition of the Bibury Trout Farm, one of the oldest in the country, where the cold, clear springs have been harvested for generations, creating a connection between the land and the table that feels almost sacred. Curiosity leads the traveler away from the main road to the hidden spots of the village churchyard, where weathered tombstones tell stories of the wool merchants and the laborers whose sweat built this golden paradise. The population of Bibury lives in a state of constant observation, yet they maintain a dignity and a local secret in their ability to keep the village's soul intact despite the millions who visit. The mystery of Bibury is how it survives its own beauty, how it remains a functioning community rather than a museum. There is a deep, emotional satisfaction in watching the sunset hit the Cotswold stone, turning the village into a glowing ember of history, a place where the unique traditions of rural stewardship are practiced every day. Hidden spots, like the small stone bridges tucked behind the Swan Hotel or the narrow footpaths that lead to the high pastures, offer a sense of discovery for the truly curious, revealing a Bibury that exists outside of postcards. A place of quiet, a place of historical gravity, and a place where the secrets of the stones are only revealed to those who are willing to linger long after the crowds have departed, listening to the river tell its eternal story to the golden walls of the valley. As if turning the page of an old storybook, we arrive in another village, one far more famous, yet equally layered with secrets, Bibury. Often described as the most beautiful village in England, Bibury appears almost unreal, with its honey-colored stone cottages lined along the River Colne, reflecting perfectly in the still water. Tourists come in thousands, cameras ready, drawn by the iconic Arlington Row, a line of 14th-century weavers' cottages that have become a symbol of timeless England. But behind this beauty lies a deeper, more emotional story, one shaped by centuries of labor, survival, and quiet resilience. Bibury's population remains small, just a few hundred residents, yet its history stretches back to the Doomsday Book of 1086. In those early days, the village was not a place of beauty, but of work, harsh, demanding work in wool production, where families lived tightly packed and winters were unforgiving. Some locals believe that the cottages still carry the echoes of those lives, that on certain misty mornings, when the river fog creeps low and silent, you can almost hear the distant murmur of looms and voices long gone. There are stories passed quietly among residents, of a particular window in Arlington Row where a shadow is sometimes seen, even when the cottage is empty, or of footsteps heard along the narrow paths late at night when the village should be asleep. Yet Bibury, like Peaslake, is not defined by its mysteries alone. It thrives on traditions that have endured through centuries, seasonal festivals, small gatherings by the river, and an unspoken agreement among locals to protect the soul of the village from the overwhelming presence of tourism. Hidden spots exist here too, though harder to find. A secluded bend in the river where swans gather at dawn, an abandoned stone bridge covered in moss, and a quiet hillside that offers a view of the entire village untouched by crowds. There is a bittersweet emotion woven into Bibury, a tension between preservation and change, between being admired by the world and remaining true to its roots. Some residents speak of feeling like guardians, not owners of the village, protectors of something fragile and irreplaceable. And perhaps that is the greatest curiosity of Bibury. Despite being one of the most photographed places in England, its true essence remains just out of reach, hidden beneath layers of history, memory, and quiet human stories. Together, Peaslake and Bibury form two sides of the same coin, one hidden and intimate, the other celebrated yet guarded, both carrying mysteries that cannot be fully explained, only felt, lingering in the air like echoes of a past that refuses to fade.